Tonight, in this edition of the primetime newscast on Equinox Television, an effective back to school for the second term of the 2017-2018 academic year in some parts of the central region, the littoral region of Cameroon, but a timid school resumption of back to school in the northwest region of Cameroon. Our case study for tonight is going to be in Bui division of the northwest region of Cameroon. Also ahead, we talk about the arrest of the interim president of Ambazonia, President Sisiku Julius Ayuk, and 9 other of his collaborators that were arrested in Nigeria the weekend. The information that went viral across the national territory and beyond. In the second part of this newscast, a legal mind would be looking at the legal implications of the arrest and a lot more. Those are headlines. Stay with us for the details. We shall be right back. Good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome you back from the weekend. You are watching the primetime newscast on Equinox Television. Let's begin right here with school resumption for the second term of the 2017-2018 academic year, which is still to gain steam in Bui division of the northwest region of Cameroon. Like was the case before, as we announced in the headlines, primary and secondary schools in Kumbu and other parts of the Bui division were scanty this Monday, as we hear in the following report. An empty school campus, a scanty classroom. This was the picture of several schools visited in Bui division on this second term of the 2017-2018 academic year. All the pupils in classrooms were in assorted attires. Teachers of this institution say that only 25 pupils were present.
The turnout as of last year is still lesser than the number we had before we went on holidays. Because we went on holidays with an enrollment of 32, and today we have an enrollment of 25 pupils. So we are still expecting that number should come or more than that. To 2016 I had an enrollment of 42 pupils, but now I'm having 9 of them in class, so teaching is really very boring.
Apart from timid school resumption is the deplorable learning and teaching conditions. Teachers are also worried about the phenomenon of promoting children into the next class even after missing out in the previous school year.
It is very, very difficult because, you see, once they switched from 4 and they were supposed to be in 5 and now they are in 6, the work is really, really very difficult because they cannot understand basic concepts which they could have been taught in class 5, and they see those things in 6, and it's very, very difficult for them. So at the moment, since we already had the class during first term in December, we hope that since they are already in 6, they will cope up. Most of them, as you saw them in class, some are doing well, some are not doing well.
Back to school was rather effective in some government secondary schools in Bui division with the massive turnout of students. That was the situation in Bui division of the northwest region of Cameroon today. Now, today was like any ordinary school day in Bamenda. Students and pupils had resumed since January 3rd, 2018. At GBHS Baele, we can see how security forces carried out thorough checks at the school gate before admitting students into their various classrooms. In the said institution, students had to resume earlier. It should be noted to catch up with lost teaching hours, according to authorities of the school at GBHS Baile. Lessons unfolded hitch-free, but it should be noted that dozens of students who failed to respect time were asked to stay out of campus. The principal of GBHS Baile was explaining to media men and women that some parents are still coming for the enrollment of their kids, especially those who missed out the first term of the 2017-2018 academic year. Let's hear him in the following excerpt.
If you cannot run, you walk for 1 hour. Who's that coming in with the car?
The resumption has been quite effective in this school, and like you already said, we reopened on the 3rd of January. We had catch-up classes, and this is a program which is respected by all the schools, public schools in the Northwest and Southwest regions. So today it's just a continuation for us. It is not actually reopening to us because we have been on since the 3rd. As you saw for yourself, there's still a handful of parents out there seeking admission in various classes. For those who come to be registered in examination classes, it's rather unfortunate. If there is no proof that you were following up studies before now, it will be fairly difficult for us to consider you in examination classes. But in the junior classes, when the committee looks through the report cards as proof that the children merit the classes where they are applying, we only counsel the parents that the children stand the risk of repeating the class because they will not have followed up what was done during the first term.
When divided by x minus...
That is the principal of GBHS Baele in the Northwest region of Cameroon, Mr. Kum John G, was speaking to a correspondent in Bamenda, Mbu Stella. Now, in the Mongo division of Cameroon, we take you to Lum, where students of Government Technical School in that part of the littoral region of Cameroon were urged by the school principal to avoid any form of distraction and focus on their studies. Katrin Kone tells us more in this report.
After 2 weeks holidays marked by end of year, students and people resumed classes this Monday across the country to mark the beginning of the second term of 2017-2018 academic year. As early as 7 a.m. at Government Technical School Lum in the Mongo division of the littoral region, students underwent security and identification checks were conducted by teachers on campus. Latecomers and those poorly dressed were sent back home. Getting on campus smile brightened the faces of students and teachers as they reunite after being separated by the Christmas holiday.
Votre attention sur le fait que le deuxième trimestre est un trimestre décisif.
During the morning devotion, the principal urged the students to cease from any form of distraction as they kickstart the second and shortest term, marked by several activities and public holidays. She instructed them to pay more attention on their studies. She added that classes will begin effectively.
Nous devons nous mettre au travail parce que les examens c'est bientôt.
On the part of the student, they are aware this second term is the shortest term of the academic year calendar, and as such, strive to pass their exams by studying harder. Though majority of the students answered present on resumption day, some are still to resume, and it is therefore hope that in the days ahead, the absentee will join their peers as the term accelerates. Resumption was hint-free Monday at Government Technical School, Lum.
We now talk about the 41st Ordinary Conference of Cameroonian Bishops that opened in the nation's capital, Yaoundé, this Monday. It was an opportunity for the President of the National Episcopal Conference, His Lordship Samuel Kleda, to call on the need or to tell reporters that they have so far filed a complaint to the government to be served the truth on the death of the late Bishop of Bafia, His Lordship Jean-Marie Benoit Bala. He said that they are still to seek the truth and that lawyers are working relentlessly to determine the assassins of the late Bishop. Samuel Kleda also demanded the provision of necessary documents at their disposal that would help facilitate the truth in searching the process, or the truth-searching process rather, on the assassination of the late Bishop of Bafia, His Lordship Jean-Marie Benoit Bala. It was equally an opportunity for the President of the National Episcopal Conference to call for peace and unity in Cameroon. and it was during the conference of bishops that took place in Yaoundé today. We talk about water crisis in the Fako division of the southwest region of Cameroon. Mutengene, Tiko and other parts of the Fako have been hit by water crisis for several months now. Taps have run dry, and to carry out household chores has been practically difficult for local inhabitants. Derry Jato in the following report is going to be telling us that the battle is between the Water Management Committee and the Tiko Council that has resulted to the situation prevailing in Fako division now. His report.
The population of Mutengene in Tiko subdivision is caught in the fight between the Tiko Council and the Mutengene Water Project Committee.
Well, I don't think the council is giving us any support. Instead, all today they have not done anything to rescue the situation. So I don't think they are giving us any assistance.
Because what they are doing there is total kakufuru, because those committees are supposed to be under the management of the council as per the latest traditional text.
But Mayor Mukundo Daniel of Tiko Council on many occasions has called on the Mutengene people to be calm, for there is a water project in the pipeline.
I suppose the Mutengene will finally enjoy more than every other place in the municipality. Like I always tell people, we are putting a project with the KFW, German funding body, to put water in Mutengene to the tune of 867 million.
This is the present state of Mutengene. Students and pupils, for instance, on a normal school day like this Monday, January 8, 2018, are instead spotted hunting for the precious liquid, and some before them have even died in the process.
Sometimes some are even knocked by reckless drivers, and it has resulted into casualties.
And the Mutengene Water Committee will only answer the Mutengene population when nature play in their favor.
Presently, we are at the peak of the dry season now, and probably will face crisis water from now right up to March. So it's difficult, but we'll try as much as possible to ration water in the quarters.
And some are holding politics and bad governance responsible.
There was a budget from FECOM that my phone had to construct another tank in Otutu, between Otutu and Iwongo. And my phone has constant supply of water. But this project was to come to Mutengene. But what was spoken that they should not build in Mutengene because Mutengene is SDF. And now the people are suffering because of bad governance. So even the water committee, the water board cannot do any good job. People stay for months without no water. But for which when people pay in every home 7,000 francs a year, and then maybe those public taps, so many doesn't even function. And then what is the water committee doing with the money? They still what is the government of Cameroon doing with money? People pay taxes, the budget, money that comes from different countries. What do they do with the money? But everything goes into private pocket. So everything right from the grassroots is out of the bad governance. So effectively, our cry is that God Almighty come. We need a change from the top to bottom.
For the moment, it is Boya subdivision that is supplying the over 100,000 people with this one tap.
The Rijato on the situation of a water crisis. Now, suspects of the death of a 26-year-old man in Bafia and a trader have been arrested and presented to the public. That was at the weekend. In the crowd was an inconsolable father of the 26-year-old victim that was killed by another man over a 20-year-old girl. Innocent as it tells us more in the following report.
The cry of an elderly man in the town of Bafia in the Mbaman Enugu division of the central region. Bong Aibong is his name. He mourns the death of his 26-year-old son, Boom Ambas Anase, murdered by Sep Nasaidu, 28-year-old man, on the 26th of December 2017. Police sources hint it was a love crime perpetrated by Sep Nasaidu, who disputed with the deceased over a lady. Police Commissioner of Bafia, Emmanuel Juna, confirmed Nasaidu, the 26-year-old, violently stabbed the 26-year-old Boom Ambas Anase in the chest. He says investigation is ongoing to get more information on the case. This is the lady scrambled over by the two men. She is under police custody in Bafia. Betam Akoko Damali's 20-year-old recounts the circumstances that led to the assassination of her boyfriend, Boom Ambaz. After separating with her boyfriend on that fateful day, she was confronted by Sep Nasaido with threats he would deal with her boyfriend such that the relationship they have in common dies. Same day at midnight, she was visited by police elements led by the commissioner over the assassination of her boyfriend. It is the second death case in the space of 5 days in Bafia. The first case involved 2 traders of the Bafia Central Market. Mundong Sule stabbed to death Ndam Mamudu in his home. Still trying to digest the 2 murder cases by the police, another man in Taro village, Felix Amatang, missed death as he ended up incurring severe injuries from an individual who, after perpetrating the act, disappeared into thin air. The town of Bafia has witnessed the end of 2017 and the start of a new year, 2018, with death motions. Arrested by the police, the prime suspects of the crimes were presented to the public recently.
We now take you to the Southwest Regional Headquarters of Boya, where a civil society activist or a civil society actor has launched a football tournament in the Boya Central Prison to change the minds of some inmates. Those were his words during his stay with the inmates at the Boya Central Prison. That was last weekend. He denounced what he called deplorable conditions and the overcrowded nature of the Boya Central Prison. Derek Jato was there. He brought back the following report.
At a time that critics are expressing worries that if nothing is done concerning the overcrowding nature of prisons, especially of the northwest and southwest regions, it will likely result to another crisis. One man in Boya is contributing its own quarter to build first the psychological fitness of these inmates at the Boya Central Prison.
Happy because I believe when they are happy, they think less, they have less stress, they don't think badly. So let's motivate them and make them feel happy and know that we are brothers, we are living more. We are not more than them, even though we are outside putting on white. We are not more than them. Believe me, in this prison there are presidents inside this prison.
Launching his football and handball tournament, Mr. Cyprian Tayon, popularly called here Siwa International, says he is merely creating a platform for well-wishers to come and assist those in prison, which to him is a divine assignment.
What I'm doing right here is based on the scripture. Jesus said, I was in prison and you visited me. So to me, I believe the greatest investment and showbiz you can go on is in the prison. I am really using also this platform, this opportunity to urge my other friends that on the day of the final, which is 25th of February, please come, all of you, come. Bring all those your old dresses and shoes. Bring it. They need gifts, they need dresses, they need your financial support, they need a lot of things from you guys.
And to put that expected smile on the faces of these inmates, CY came in with musicians and comedians to accompany this day one of his tournament. Some football clubs are participating in each category, and the opening match saw Mount Cameroon Football Club beating Man Coupe 3-2.
1,000 plus watching from all the 4 angles of Boya Central Prison. Ready?
Now we talk about this brief note before we come to the second part of this newscast. The interim president of the Ambazonian Republic, Sisiko Julius Ayuk, and 9 of his collaborators arrested last weekend are still to regain their freedom despite multiple calls for their release from other Anglophone activists. A press release issued by the Communications Secretary of the Ambazonian Interim Government confirmed the arrest that was last weekend, which took place in a hotel in Abuja, Nigeria, where they were supposed to be talking about the refugee crisis of Anglophone Cameroonians in neighboring Nigeria. An official statement from the Cameroonian government and the Nigerian government is still highly awaited. It is still unknown who actually carried out the arrest, but we're having information that they were actually being interrogated in Abuja, Nigeria. We shall be talking about that in the second part of this newscast. Stay with us. We shall be right back. Good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen. We have as guest a senior barrister at law, a common law lawyer, barrister Ashu Abo Emmanuel. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on Talking Point.
Good evening, Mimi.
Tonight,
Good
as I
evening,
indicated, of course, I'm sorry for that. As I indicated, we are going to be talking about the arrest of the interim president of the Ambazonian Republic and his 9 collaborators. It took place actually at the weekend. It's gone viral across the national territory. A lot of media press were talking about it today and across the national territory and even beyond. First of all, what is your reaction as far as the situation is concerned?
Well, it's very disturbing. I term this the Nigerian hot potato because the Nigerian government has done something that has turned out to be really embarrassing to it, and we pray that this situation should be solved as quickly as possible.
To say the Nigerian government has done something terrible means that it's not official.
It's not. It's official.
Was carried out by the Nigerian government.
They've said they've agreed that they've accepted that it was the NSS that arrested
the president of Nigeria.
No, the Nigerian. Well, I've read from social media that it was the NSS that carried out the arrest, and I think I saw images of some of their operatives with some of the Ambazonian interim government members.
So what are we talking? What kind of situation are we dealing with as a legal mind, barrister?
Well, we are dealing with a situation that may have to turn around extradition, because these are people who have been arrested in Nigeria who are foreigners, and we have a foreign government that is interested in them, and I think the next thing that we want to hear is whether they should be extradited to Cameroon or not.
Is that going to be possible?
Well, you know,
repatriating them to Cameroon or handing them over to the Cameroonian government.
Yeah, we have.
Possible?
You see, our criminal procedure is governed by the Criminal Procedure Code, which is based on common law, and Nigeria also applies common law. So, what we have here is basically similar to what to the situation that prevails in Nigerian common law. It will be very difficult. It will be very difficult for an extradition to be obtained, because if we go by the dictates of sections 643, 42 and 43, with our permission, 643 and 43 of our Criminal Procedure Code, it is going to be very difficult
to repatriate them from Nigeria to Cameroon.
Yes, it's a felonies and misdemeanors directed against the Constitution, the sovereignty of the state, and public authorities shall be considered as political offenses for which extradition shall not be granted. And it looks like this is just what the Cameroon government is saying, that these are offenses against the sovereignty of the state. And then again we have 642, which talks of felonies and misdemeanors which are not directed against any kind of government. Any kind of government shall be considered as common law offenses and may justify extradition. Here we have an entire government that has been arrested and is being kept in detention. So you see, it's not going to be an easy case for the government of Cameroon.
If extradition is not possible, handing over is not possible, what about bilateral ties or treaties that have been signed between
Cameroon? Cameroon has no extradition treaty with Nigeria, to the best of my knowledge, except they signed one overnight. But as you know, any treaty that is signed has to be ratified by the assembly. So to the best of my knowledge, Cameroon and Nigeria don't have an extradition treaty.
And the fact that some international arrest warrants were equally issued to arrest some of the Anglophone activists who are out of Cameroon? Is it going to have any implication as far as the situation is concerned?
You see, extradition can only take place after a full trial on an application for extradition that is brought before the competent court in the country where the people were arrested. And that application has to be channeled by a diplomatic channel to the court and must comprise the documents on which the state is the requesting state is relying. Now, they talk of when you say international arrest warrant. A warrant of arrest, according to our criminal procedure code, a warrant of arrest can be issued by an examining magistrate by the state council. I have not seen what people call international arrest warrant. Who issued it, who signed it, I don't know. But they have to produce warrants of arrest that are signed by competent authorities.
So what could possibly happen in Nigeria? You earlier talked about common law being practiced in Anglophone parts of Cameroon and also in Nigeria.
No, the whole of Cameroon.
Case is concerned.
Our criminal procedure code is based
Cameroon,
on common law. Yes.
What could possibly happen following their arrest?
They are going to be, the Cameroon government will have to send an application for extradition, which would be listed for hearing before the Abuja High Court, and the High Court will now determine whether there is good ground for extradition or not. And from what I'm reading from our criminal procedure code, which looks like what prevails the other side, I'm afraid it's not going to be very easy.
So now, Barrister, what could be the implication of what is happening, if at all, handing them over to the Cameroonian authority is going to be a possibility? What could be the impact on the socio-political crisis now in Anglophone regions of Cameroon?
Well, if these people were to be handed over to the government, to the state of Cameroon, that is what I don't wish for that, because it will be total calamity.
What do you mean by that?
The first thing is that we are likely to have the reprisal of the Anglophone community against Nigerians who are here. We are likely to have that. The second is that you see, when you look at the list of people who are arrested, there is no military man inside. That means the Amazonian Defense Forces are still intact. And that will mean that they will go to any ends to cause as much havoc to have their people released, which I don't want that to happen. Meaning that it will not affect the crisis in any way? No. When the government disbanded the consortium, did the crisis stop? We are talking of a government, not consortium. The consortium was just a small group. It was disbanded and the thing continued and even went higher gears. Now we are talking of a government that is at the head of a well-organized community. When you look at the videos on social media, these people are well organized. The diaspora is so well organized. They have monthly contributions. Maybe some of us don't know those facts. These people have monthly contributions. To have a new government will not take them 5 minutes. So we should not fool ourselves that by arresting Sisiku and others, you are bringing anything to an end. No, it will instead escalate. The best thing is to have some solution that will calm down the Anglophones. I want to propose, because
just be fast about it.
I want to propose that in my opinion, the best solution to this thing is to have an Anglophone president. If we have an Anglophone president in this country, I don't think there will be any need for secession.
Thank you so much, Barrister, for joining us tonight on Talking Point. Thank you so much for those clarifications. To our televiewers, we thank you as well for joining us in this edition of the Primetime Newscast on Equinox Television. Wishing you a blessed stay in the company of our programs until we meet again. Goodbye.